Josh, the RV nerd with Bish's RV, here with some updates on the 178BHSK FSX, called either Wildwood or Salem, same thing. They are the originator of this floor plan that is now found, it's in a lot of builders build this layout right now, because what it provides is maximum sleeping in minimum weight and space. Like if you're trying, like you got like 3, 4, 5 people that you're trying to sleep and you've got a limited tow vehicle or a limited budget, this thing comes in and gives you a lot of RV for the weight and the size and everything. So the thing is though, because now everybody and their brother is copying it, Wildwood has stepped up their game. Last year they devised, very end of last year actually, they devised a new north-south Murphy bed system on this. Previously it was a corner Murphy bed, so now you don't have to crawl over one another at night, so they've made it far more convenient that way. The other thing that they did this year that's really interesting is they opted for what they're calling like this little Euro table arrangement, sort of like a lagoon style table, not exactly, but they have created something that by default is a U-dinette, but the table can totally swing out of the way easily to become a lounge without having to really like wrestle it and dislodge it. Or you can remove the back bench and just have a giant size 2-bench dinette or fold it down into a sleeper. There's still storage under the 2 side benches. The table can again float around kind of wherever you want it while still being fairly sturdy and stable, which is cool. And it's those kind of little tweaks, touches, updates, and upgrades that they put on these that I feel kind of keep them ahead of the curve, but that's my nerdy little opinion. Now we're looking at one today in their tin skin series, but fiberglass siding in their Platinum series is also available. And you know, the more I've gone through this RV, the more it's kind of occurring to me, I don't know that FSX has really tried to sort of like reinvent themselves here, so much as they've stayed in line with their Versa features, like how everything in this RV has like a convertible kind of change around function, like, you know, this little crazy Euro table. Like if you just want to slide it off to the side, it can obviously remove. It can totally get out of the way if you want it to, but like you can spin it around all kinds of different ways. And, you know, if you're just sitting there on like a rainy day stuck inside the camper, having like a place to sort of kick your feet up and stretch out while having a drink or something next to you, not too bad. Or if you're doing like a little laptop warrior station, that ain't too awful bad. Now, both sides of the RV have household plugs on both sides of the bed. There we go. I couldn't decide how I want to phrase it, so stupidity is what came out of my mouth. And this is prepped for roof solar. Now, what that means, there's a plug on the roof, and there's a wire that runs down to the wall to about where that sticker is located. From there, you install a panel, you install a charge controller, and you finish running the wiring out to the actual battery, so it's not plug and play. That's the difference in the RV industry between prepped and ready. Ready means plug and play. Prepped means we kind of started some of it, but you got to finish it up. Now, it's 6.5 foot tall, which means a little over 6 foot. I can walk right under that air conditioner. My head is not going to bang on the knobs or anything like that. It is a non-ducted air, but in a little camper like this, I think that's fine. I don't have too much of an issue with that. They changed around this bed arrangement last year, adding those little storage totes, changing it from just like a pontoon-style bench to this sort of jackknife sofa that we're looking at right here, which allows for a north-south bendy bed Murphy system. Now, kicking you over into wide-angle lens mode to give you a look at all that right there, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's a little camper, you know. Now, if you wanted to like get like a foam top or something like that, maybe when you get to your destination, you just sort of leave the bed out, you could do that. But opening and closing it, not too awful hard. But keep in mind, in that demonstration, what I'm not showing you is like, you know, putting on your bed sheets and everything. There's just a quick slim fitted sheet on that. I'm not trying to smoke screen you, and I'm not trying to sound super awful negative about what this thing is. I'm just trying to be more realistic about it so that before you spend a lot of money, you kind of know what you're getting for it, you know. Totally carpetless right here. It is a little bit of a step up slide because do you see that little wood box over there? That is actually the wheel well. So that's the reason a lot of these small campers have a slide that's above the floor with a little floating step like that, because it can't be floor flush because the tire and the wheel well are literally in the way. But what they did over here with this, they just took a conventional U-dinette and they did some things with it because, like, what if you just want to get the table out of the way, like we've kind of talked about before? Well, I mean, that's obviously not too hard. Like here's a good little demonstration. But in addition to that, you can also remove the rear bench. So you can convert this U dinette into a big 2-bench dinette, which oddly is actually more comfortable for 4 people. There's more leg room that way. There's also storage below it. It can still fold down into a nicely sized sleeper. And that's really the main focal point of this camper. Let's say you sleep one person on the dinette, one on each of the bunks, and then 2 people in your front bed. Well, that's 5 people in a tiny camper pretty comfortably, but if you double up little kids in the little bunks and on the dinette, which is not awesome, but you could do it, that's 8 people in a tiny camper. That is really, really good. I don't think 8 is a realistic sleeping expectation in this, though, unless, I know some families who will, well, the kids like to tent camp, while we sit in the RV. Well, that's all well and good until monsoon season happens, and then suddenly the kids are inside with you. You know what I mean? The kitchen counter prep space in this is limited, and there's really not a whole lot of way around it. However, something that's kind of cool about this little Euro, I'm not going to call it style, but maybe Euro-inspired kind of table, is depending on what you want to do with it, you flip this sucker around and bring it over here. Now, it's very flopsy-lopsy right now in Winnie the Pooh terms. Normally, it'd be a little stiffer and more secure than that, so it wouldn't sit on a stupid angle. I've just got it set up for quick demo purposes. What I'm getting at, you flip that thing over here, and suddenly you could kind of leverage it as countertop prep space. Mostly if everybody else is outside and you're kind of left alone in the RV, because if somebody's sitting at the dinette, obviously they probably need the table. And these portable Bluetooth speakers, I've long been a fan. You've heard me say for a couple of years now, I've kind of been a stickler about it. I'm kind of the campaign of get rid of the outside speakers, because I'd rather just have a portable Bluetooth. And I don't even think manufacturers need to include the speaker, but FSX has. And they were one of the first to kind of change things around in that regard. Now, the double bunks over here, that is really possible pretty much only due to the 7.5-foot wide body size. You go any more narrow than this, like the 7-foot models, and you really cannot, put the double beds anymore. I do like how each bed has their own set of USB plugs, which, again, for rainy day survival is very handy. Now, I always look for stickers to tell me the bunk ratings, and I am not able to locate one around here, so apologies for that. But what I can do is demonstrate for you how each bunk has its own individual privacy curtain, which is really, really nice. It allows you to, that way the kid in the bottom bunk isn't fighting the kid in the top bunk, or the kid in the bottom bunk, if they want to pull a sheet across to give them privacy, they pretty much have to they end up pulling it down, and half the time they'll pull it out of the ceiling. Well, now they don't got to worry about it because it's only 2 foot long instead of 4 foot long, and it just works better. Just makes more sense. The overhead cabinet there next to the microwave is nice, but it doesn't have any kind of strut or holdback or catch or anything, so kind of keep that in mind. Not the end of the world because the RV's not super duper tall, but just those little things I try to share good with bad. Oh, by the way, under the sink, there is a sink cover included with this for that circular sink. Now, I'm a little bit surprised that they've stuck with this for so long. When I ask this question, I'll ask, hey, do you prefer a circle sink, a round sink, or a farm sink? And a lot of people have said farm sink or square sink. Did I say circle sink or round? Okay, let me start over. Circle, square, rectangle, farm sink. Circle gets the square. What sink would you prefer? Most people say square or farm sink. Almost nobody says circular, but they've stuck with it. It does allow the faucet to stay out of the way. It does allow for some counter space, so it's not like it's without benefits, but I don't know. It just kind of is what it is, I do suppose. Bathroom space over here. For a small camper, the bathroom's not the worst I've ever seen, actually. Decent space around the toilet. I got no issues with that. And you do have a dedicated sink in the bathroom, along with a full medicine cabinet, not just a mirror on the wall. The over the shower is a skylight vent fan combo. And I'm glad it's there because you get airflow, and somebody my height, a little over 6 foot, you need it to be able to stand in that shower. But I also like how they are including shower surround paneling there. So there's a bunch of, if you look at things that people are going to need, use, see, feel, and touch every single day they go camping, a lot of those features are handled in here very, very well. Where this one gets a little tricky is road mode. Because in previous years when it had the corner They called it Jiffy bed, not quite a Murphy. I think you could still leave the bed down and close the slide. But that jackknife flat out cannot lay down. So that bed can no longer open when the slide's closed. So that new cool feature that they put in, also one of their new greatest liabilities. And I say that kind of stuff all the time, I know. But every person, every RV's best quality is their worst quality. It's their biggest weakness, you know what I mean? All at the same time. But other than that, bathroom, bunks, kitchen, all those things are accessible. If you want to maintain bed access, you might want to look at a Catalina 184, J Feather 199, and Ember 191. Those will still accomplish that, but they lack the north-south bed this one has. It's all a give and a take. And I don't expect you to remember all that alphabet soup. It's taken me a long, long time to remember all those model numbers, and I still can't remember them all. So what I'll do, I will leave you some links in the video description where if you want to see other people who've made a floor plan like this in similar, basic, very high-end categories, all kinds of different things, I've got a bunch of different guys to make this layout on file for you right now, so you can find the one that works best for you. It's nice when you get to be picky. Now this thing is cool because they did shove so much into a small space, but if you take a look at those weights and measures, I do regretfully encourage you to take a look at the cargo capacity on this one. It has a very limited cargo capacity. To be fair, it also has very limited storage space, so it may actually work out just fine. And I know a lot of people who have taken these home who have been plenty pleased with them, so, you know, kind of keep that in mind. Now, today, again, we're looking at the Wildwood version, but Salem and Wildwood are the same thing. The only difference is just the color of the exterior package on them. Beyond that, they are literally the identical same RV, made by the same people in the same place with the same materials at the same time. So don't ever let some dealer try to pull the wool over your eyes and tell them that, try to tell you that one's better than the other. We sell both. I can be real about this. They're exactly the same. These are 7.5 foot wide, which when they first came out with that, RVs were either 7 foot wide or 8 foot wide, and there was like almost nothing in between. There were a few other rare exceptions, but most mainstream RVs, that's how it was. Well, this 7.5 foot body size has since been adopted by Catalina, by Ember, by J Feather Micro, and most recently Wolf Pup. So once again, FSX, not just on the floor plan itself, but the general styling and design of the RV really being a trendsetter, which is not a phrase that you often associate with a basic stick-built camper. But frankly, I'm of the belief that FSX is one of the single most original and innovative RV brands out there. Ironically, you would normally kind of leave designators like that to laminated stuff, but in the recent years, it's really the stick and tin guys that have become the most creative. Now, as we peek in here up to this full front passenger, allow me to shed some light on the situation, as you can see. Now, you do have to kind of dogleg left to get around the base of the Murphy sofa because they have those storage totes there, but at least you have storage outside, and you see that you have that portable solar prep plug right there off the side. These are also prepped if you want to add a roof solar package, and they do offer an available 200-watt roof solar panel with a 30-amp charge controller, so maybe kind of keep that in mind. On-demand water heater, very nice for a lot of back-to-back showers. I don't love the fact that it's over here on the awning side of the RV, but on a floor plan like this, it can't be helped unless there's just really nowhere else to put a water heater. It's too big. It doesn't fit anywhere else. The hot-cold utility shower, also very, very handy here over on the campsite of the RV. Now, for years, they offered like some kind of optional kind of thing outside here in terms of the camp kitchen, and I think they've kind of really sort of zeroed in on something where it's very simple and basic, and it still leaves some nice open cargo space, and I kind of like how they've managed to, I think, kind of give you a storage and camp kitchen without really giving you too much of one and not enough of the other. You've got the little fridge kind of around the corner there, the little griddle station, which if you don't want it, could always just be unscrewed. And you do have some handy USB outlets here, and bringing that Bluetooth speaker that is included with this RV outside and keeping it charged up like that, that sounds like a fun day to me. Now, one of the other things that's really uncommon in something this size, class, and category, and budget, and all those descriptors would be the fact that this does have an enclosed underbelly. That is very uncommon for something like this, and it is prepped and ready for a telescopic removable ladder. It's also prepped and ready for, like, you could add a backup camera on this thing here. You could add slide awnings to it if you want. And overall, It does sit decently high off the ground, although it's certainly not made to be some kind of like off-road adventure camper, nothing stupid like that. But it does leave the sewer stuff some decent clearance, which is great because it does look like that sticks down a fair amount. Something else that's boring to talk about, but I think a really important feature, is the fact that this does still include a black tank flush.